God, girls, did you watch the Caribbean?
Canadian Grand Prix. I wish there was a race in the Caribbean. Man,
Oh my God.
Hey, if there is a race in the Caribbean,
Can you imagine the
yeah,
vibes?
I'm dead.
Did you imagine the vibes?
The parties.
The parties.
The rum punch, still drum, beach.
Oh, what's mad?
Wait,
That will
but
be
just
the
seeing Lewis in that environment would give me jokes.
I was just about to say that will be the weekend Simone catches on wine from Lewis. That would be the weekend.
me in my string vest dress. Excuse me, listen.
You'd be like, Shakira girl, I'm here now.
Bye.
Bye.
I'll tell you, my hips don't lie. Goodbye. It's gonna be one of them ones.
This oxtail is nice and moist. Sorry, Canadian Grand Prix.
Okay, yes, let's get into the Canadian Grand Prix. This is really up. 3 Black women talking all things Formula One. Whoop, whoop. I'm Simone.
Hi everyone, I'm Shanice, currently with a mouthful of oxtail, living life, loving it, here for the Canadian Grand Prix vibes.
Hey everyone, I'm Anita. I'm actually quite grumpy because why is hay fever killing me? Dude, I can't understand as to why the weather and Mother Nature believed that this would be the right time for hay fever to come and kill me. I am dying slowly, but the race was interesting, so I guess that's something positive to talk about.
It was indeed, but let's get into it. Did any of y'all catch qualifying? Because I know we all have busy weekends.
I was away in Budapest, so no. I know, look at Shanice, just out here, just living life.
I know, living her best life. She's like, yeah, I was in Budapest, I missed that, sorry.
I can't meet. You know what, actually, we've all had something because I first was in St. Lucia, Anita did Beyonce twice, and then in Budapest. So I only caught a bit of quali. I was out and I had a birthday meal. So Anita, catch us up with what happened in quali.
Oh, quali was all right. Like, it was a little bit messy for Leclerc and Checo. I think they went out in Q2, so they didn't make it to Q3. And I was just looking at Leclerc thinking, there's not really that many excuses you can give. In fact, no, let me start from the top. I almost forgot the best bits. Right, so cool. Qualifying, right? Practice 3, practice 2, practice 1. The weather was all over the place.
It was raining, no?
One minute it was sunny, 1 minute it was raining, and then you just have to look around and you're just thinking, okay, are we ever going to get underway with any of these practice sessions? Are we going to see a full practice session? Are we going to have a good quali? So they did practice sessions on wets and intermediates, and obviously, you know, it makes everything slower, it's not as entertaining, but everyone was looking good and looked like it might cause an upset in the qualifying, right? It didn't. Anyway, sorry, that was a spoiler alert. But moving on to qualifying, again, the weather was all over the place. So I think they started on wets. No, did they start on wets or did they start?
I think a lot of people had intermediates, no?
Intermediates. They started on intermediates, didn't they?
I don't know. I was out, but I watched the highlights this afternoon.
Girl, it is a Tuesday evening.
Yeah, but I was at work. I was working at the British touring cars. So you know the British touring cars that Lewis's brother Nicholas Hamilton, he drives in. So we were filming that on Sunday. So I was at work, okay?
Just sprinkled that in there. I love that.
Just being out, like I wasn't just doing nothing. I was, you know,
girl.
Anyhow.
But yeah, it was just a mixture of tires that happened. And there was at one point where the track was dry in Q2 and Alex Albon, he had a masterclass this entire weekend. I won't even lie to you, but Alex Albon, he came out and he said, you know what, after Q1, he said, okay, it seems like the track is drier in some areas. Put me on softs, yeah. So he was the only car to go out on softs in Q2. And obviously Max Verstappen was doing his laps and you're thinking, okay, Max Verstappen intermediates, he's getting the fastest lap, lap in, lap out. So you're just thinking, okay, this is Max Verstappen's time. Alex Albon comes out of nowhere with his softs and he does a couple seconds on Max and we're just looking like, what the hell? And then everyone starts coming in for softs apart from Mercedes and Ferrari. So Leclerc originally asked his team to bring him in for softs. The team said no. They said try and get at least one lap in and then come in. So that means he had to do his out lap and then a lap and his cooling down lap, right? So that's already like, I'd say 4 or 5 minutes gone. Cool. Alex Albon is there on his softs doing fastest lap after fastest lap. Verstappen comes in, he gets his softs, fast lap. Alonso comes in, fast lap. Magnussen, Hulkenberg, everyone's got on soft tires now. Not Leclerc, not Carlos Sainz, not Lewis Hamilton, not George Russell. They are still behind.
Do you know what this confirms again? Is that I don't really think it's the Ferrari necessarily, the drivers, it's the team.
The team.
It's
the whole team.
Come on.
The whole collective.
The whole, everybody else. But if you can see that Alex Albon is getting fastest lap, bitch, you better change your tires.
Right. Like, it just didn't make any sense. So then, obviously, Leclerc's now changed to soft tires. Lewis Hamilton's changed to soft tires. It's too late. The rain starts coming up again. It's too late. Everyone's like swiveling and swerving. There's nothing anyone can do. And there's like 3 minutes left, right? So Checo's gone back to fresh intermediate tires, and inevitably Checo just does not make it through to Q3. Leclerc is having a fit because he's just like, yo, I told you guys, let me go on soft tires. You didn't let me go on soft tires. And now Leclerc is also out of Q3. Lewis Hamilton, Simone, he almost didn't make it. If Leclerc and Checo had gone to softs a little bit earlier, they would have made it and Lewis Hamilton would have been out because Mercedes were last to change their tires again. And it just shows to me that Mercedes are still very behind on strategy. I couldn't fathom. Lewis Hamilton came 10th by the skin of his teeth to get into Q3. Skin of his teeth. But anyway, there was just so much happening. There was so much impeding. I think who got penalties? Carlos Sainz got a couple penalties because
Gasly did. Nico Hulkenberg get one?
He got a penalty.
He moved as well because he qualified. What was it, P2? And I was like, excuse me.
Yeah.
I still don't understand why he got moved back down. So apparently there was a red flag infringement, but from what I saw anyway, he crossed the line before the red flag got there. So I just don't know what happened and why there was a discrepancy. I didn't really read up on it because I'm not gonna lie, it just meant Lewis Hamilton moved up to P3, so I didn't really care too much. But it was really harsh on Nico Hulkenberg because he put in a shift and he put in a really good lap. So yeah,
so he went from P2 to P5 when he started on the weekend, and I was like, but how did you get into P2 in the first place? That's what I'd like to know. How
he went on softs. He went on softs when everybody else was sleeping.
It sounded like there was just a lot going on, but let me tell you, you've already touched on it, but we'll touch on it more. Alex Albon this weekend, oh my gosh, the upgrade that the Williams had, let me tell you, Alex got the best out of that car. I couldn't, at one point, when I'm seeing Alex at the top of the grid, I was like, Alex Albon in a Williams. He was doing they were doing bits. I was very, very happy to see that.
And you know what? I've always said, right, Alex Albon in a good car can deliver. Because even though he didn't last long at Red Bull, he did a lot better than Pierre Gasly did. And Pierre Gasly is now in an Alpine. Put Alex Albon in that Alpine and he does better than Pierre Gasly.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't necessarily think as well, you know, at the time when he was at Red Bull, he was relatively new. Like do you know what I mean? I think a lot of this is all about experience. And if you can make the best out of a Williams car and drive well in a Williams car, you're more likely to get better experience and know kind of how to navigate then what more top tier cars. And I think we said this a couple of episodes ago, like, I think he's ready to move on, and I think he deserves and needs an opportunity to go somewhere else where he can shine. And we're going to be talking, I mean, we've mentioned him as a star boy before, but I feel like, you know, give him a couple of seasons, you know, I'm going to not stop talking about him.
Well, let's get into the race. So Max had a really good start, right? And for everyone doesn't know, this is 70 laps of, you know, Canadian Grand Prix, you know, pretty fast track anyway. So Max and Lewis had a really good start. I did see that and I was like, yeah, these two got off really, really well. Lewis got in front of Alonso, but then they changed places over time anyway. Alonso overtook him. Lap 2, Kevin Magnussen came.
And the thing is, Anita, you weren't here when I was cussing Magnussen, right? I think it was last episode, right? But I think maybe you were here the time before that when I was cussing him again, and I was trying not to cuss him. And this week I just thought, I can't wait to come out and cuss this guy. Because come on, I mean, I'm so, and do you know what the funniest thing about it was? And don't worry, I won't trail off too much, Simone, we'll come back. But at one point in the race, I was thinking, I'd really like to try and find somebody else that I can support this race. So at this point when I'm thinking this, Sargent had already, he's out. So I thought, okay, I can't find him. Maybe Nick de Vries will be. And then the second I thought that, boom, who comes round and off the track, having to reverse back on? Bloody Magnussen and Nick de Vries. And I was just like, oh, this is it, isn't it? You just can't support them sometimes.
I'm going to back my boy Magnussen on that, because that was all de Vries. That was de Vries. We'll come to
so that happened a little like that was lap 36. Lap 2.
That was hard.
Yeah,
lap
you're right. Sorry, let's go back to lap 2. Sorry.
No, Shanice wants to cuss him out.
I'm ready. Yeah.
Wait, she's like, I've got it now. I want to say it now. So it was lap 2 that Kevin went off, and I was like, is he going home? Because he wasn't on track. I was like, you need to come all the way back. And then we had driver error from Mr. George Russell himself. I don't know whether he oversteered his car and then he clipped his front wing, went into the wall, and that literally damaged his whole race, really. Although they changed it and he came back after safety car came back onto the track, he had to retire later on anyway, because the car was it just wasn't what it was.
I think it was his brakes. Like, he'd burnt out his brakes, basically, probably trying to catch up. I did write it down, actually. Why?
Can I just say, when you're trying to be up there with the world champions, trying to be in that race, this is what happens. You need to settle, take time, and try not to burn yourself out in the first few laps, baby. It's a waiting game.
Yeah, his brakes overheated. So, and realistically, that is technically kind of his fault for, you
need to maintain that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, it's because the point is, should his brakes, be able to handle that? But obviously they just can't. So it's then on the driver to be able to handle that. So yeah. God, poor George. I really felt sorry for it, but it was driver error, and I think it just confirmed to me and reminded me that actually all drivers can make mistakes, and sometimes even like small or big ones can have a massive impact on your race. It means that he's got no points now for that race, and he probably could have got some.
So if you just try and just stay in your lane and don't, play with the big boys.
Like, I respect him. I respect him for his first few laps, because he was desperate to cling on to Alonso. He was so desperate. And even after the virtual safety car, he was still desperate. He thought, no, I can still catch up and G with the big boys. Baby, unfortunately, they showed you why you can't. And hopefully it's another lesson learned for George. Because at the end of the day, it is his second season in an actual car that's not a Williams. So I do want to say that I respect him for trying to keep up, but at the same time, understand that there is levels.
Yeah, the thing is, on his day, George is a decent driver. He can drive. He's a decent driver. So then we get on to lap 36, where we've got Kevin Magnussen and Nick de Vries touching each other, and then them going off. And then having to reverse back. So they went on to, where did they go? They went on to the runoff bit of the track, and then they had to reverse back on. And I was watching this like, what the fuck are you two doing? Like, what happened? What are you doing?
That's exactly what I wrote down. Right? That is exactly what I wrote down. I wrote exactly that.
Wow, how can I fuck up this race?
Magnussen and de Vries, what the fuck! Exclamation. That is exactly what I wrote down.
They were battling with someone. Who were they battling with? Was it Stroll?
I thought it was
Tsunoda.
It was someone actually, and the person overtook both of them in the end.
Yes.
I think it was Yuki.
But it was kind of, so imagine them, they're all going, you know, side to side. And then I think what was happening is De Vries was braking, thinking maybe to let Magnussen go, but he was braking to kind of let, De Vries here, you can't see my fingers. And then they both kind of just swerved off. And it was just like, what is going on? And then watching them reverse back onto the track, I was so uneasy. I was like, again, and I felt really bad for kind of, well, I didn't feel bad actually, it's his own fault, but Nick De Vries kind of even reversing onto that track, he was just so slow with it. And obviously you've got to be cautious, you've got to be careful. But I feel like, I don't know if this guy knows how to control that car very well.
Do you know what? I feel like, especially with that incident in isolation, De Vries tried to go faster than he should have into the corner, and his brakes locked up when he tried to brake. Magnussen had to react. He had to react, because if he didn't react, he would have crashed. Him and De Vries would have both been out, and that's their car's done, right? They go off to the runoff place. Magnussen manages to reverse out in safe time, because I think Verstappen was coming in to lap all of them anyway, very closely behind. And De Vries, it just looked like you said, Shanice, he just doesn't look comfortable with the car. It doesn't look like he knows how to wield that car. And I kind of look at AlphaTauri as a whole. They've been really bad this season as a collective. They have 2 points. They are rock bottom of the field. Like, they have 2 points. And we can blame it on drivers and stuff, which obviously I'm going to blame Nick De Vries because you are a grown man. I think he's 28. I found out that he's 28 rocked my world. But anyway.
Wow.
Right, he's a grown man. So with that being said, there's still no excuse for AlphaTauri. I think no one's kind of shed light on that team as a whole. They are performing really badly. So maybe their car is just not up to scratch as well, because Yuki's not even having a great season either.
Yeah, it's not good for them, is it? It's not looking all rosy. Okay, so back to the race. So we had all that situation with them lot, and then we got Lando, who gets a 5-second penalty after virtual safety car for unsportsmanlike, for being too slow, slowing down cars basically. Now Lando took this very personal. He was like, "Me unsportsmanlike? No, you can't talk about me. I'm not unsportsmanlike." I think he was very baffled as to why he got the penalty and why they deemed it as unsportsmanlike. So there was a lot of discussion around that with the commentators and that, and I think he just felt really like, what the fuck. So
that's what I was going to say. It wasn't just him that felt some type of way about getting that penalty. Even the commentators were like, it just doesn't feel right. Someone like Lando Norris, like, he is the friendliest, loveliest person you can meet, so him being unsportsmanlike just feels wrong. So yeah, you're right, like, it wasn't even just, you know, him being, man, I'm quite a nice person. It was everybody else saying, but he's so nice.
That's got nothing to do with your driving.
I know, it's making me laugh when they were saying that.
I'm so over this Lando Norris narrative. I'm so over it. Lando Norris is lovely. He's a lovely guy. Every driver on that grid, they're all bastards when it comes to it. Like, when you want what you want, you're going to be a bastard at the end of the day on the grid. And I don't blame Lando for the narrative, because Lando, he probably is a really nice guy. And when they said unsportsmanlike behavior, I was like, where could that happen? Where could that have happened, right? But the commentators, right, what they are feeding into the public ear, it is enough. I've had enough. Martin Brundle, especially. I've had it up to here, right? So when Lewis and Alonso almost hit each other in the pit lane, Martin Brundle was like, "Oh, that's a penalty. Oh, Lewis shouldn't have done that. Oh, that's definitely unsafe. I'll be so surprised if Lewis." But when Lando Norris did the exact same thing, they were like, "I'll be really shocked if that's a penalty. I'm sure Lando didn't mean it like that." But it's enough. It's enough. They changed the narrative per driver. And you know what? I was happy that Lando Norris did what he did in the pit lane, because if it was just Lewis as an isolated incident, I can guarantee you he would have got a 5-second penalty. I can guarantee. But they ain't going to give Lando Norris that 5-second penalty because it's Lando Norris. They had to give it to him for unsportsmanlike behavior, though, which was weird. But boy, I thought everyone's narrative changes for this guy, and I just don't understand why.
Now it was weird to get a 5-second penalty for them to name it unsportsmanlike when they actually said he was slowing down cars behind the safety car, but Lando said, or actually I was driving the speed limit I should have been driving behind the virtual safety car, like I can't go any faster basically. So it was like, why would you give him a penalty for unsportsmanlike behavior? Is very weird. It doesn't make any sense.
Bro, if they were giving them out 2021, where was Max's?
He had it every race.
He's 1500.
He had it every single. He put his wheel on top of Lewis's car. His head. So what's that? Is that sportsmanlike? Oh, I'm confused. I don't know.
Oh my God. When I saw that, I was like, where were y'all in 2021? Where were y'all? Where were y'all in 2018 when Vettel was doing madnesses? Oh, y'all 2019. Where the hell have you guys been?
Where have you been? Where have you been? Oh my God.
Where were you last season? Do you remember when Alonso last season held up Lewis Hamilton in, was it Monaco that he held him?
Oh my God. No, I don't think it was Monaco. He was in front of him. He didn't want to let him pass. He was
yeah.
He was like, I'm doing this for Max, basically.
And he held him up.
I said, hold on a second. You're racing for a different team. I'm confused. Like, so
I remember that actually, because I was confused too. But I was thinking he just hated Lewis so much.
Yes.
He just wanted to, yeah. I remember that moment.
That's 5-second penalty.
That is unsportsmanlike, exactly. You can't hate someone so much you're supporting the other team.
It's actually silly. But we'll stay on Lando for a second because towards the end of the race, well, actually the end of the race, the last lap.
I'm so glad you guys picked up on this as well, because I was I at one point I wanted to give him credit for like trying to squeeze in, trying to get that one place over Ocon, but then I was like, hang on a minute, we're in the last second of the lap. Could you have not like been doing this the whole race? What's going on?
Listen, Lando Norris and Esteban Ocon battling it out. And I was like, what on earth is happening? Battling it out for 8th place. And they're going neck and neck. He's like, you're driving up to the checkered flag. And when Lando went off, I said, you brute. You brute.
I enjoyed that.
I didn't feel sorry for him at all. I actually did not feel sorry for him. My dad said, because I was at home, my dad said, why do you hate Lando so much? I never said I hated him. I was like, you shouldn't have done that in the first place. You get what you deserve. I'm sorry, Lando. I'm sure you're a very nice person. I'm really sure you're very sweet and all that. But that situation there, you're trying to battle Ocon and it's no. I'm sorry. And you go off, and then you come back on.
There is one thing I would say actually about the one thing I would say is most of the race, especially after he got his 5-second penalty, I was really hoping he was going to go up a place or two. I was hoping maybe he'd end up like 7th, 8th, something, just so then it would balance out his penalty and then he might get some points. So I was kind of hoping that he would do that, but not literally driving towards the checkered flag in the last lap. And also not against Ocon either, because I was thinking, oh, you know what, he's been doing quite well too. Don't ruin his last few seconds. You could have crashed him out.
It's I was just like, Lando, you deserve to have gone off and then lost the place. It was ridiculous. And then you dropped down to 30th, obviously with your 5-second penalty. I was like, you get what you deserve.
I thought it was nice that he was fighting for his life. He was literally fighting.
Driving to survive.
You're right. You're right. It was nice, but not on the last lap in the last second, for goodness sake.
You gotta go all the way to the finish line, you know, you gotta, I don't know, I'm trying to make excuses for him, because one thing I've always said about Lando is that I wanted to see him try so much more to like fight for positions and stuff, and he gave me that. Once he got that 5-second penalty, he said, yeah, he's like, okay, going past you, I need to get past you, you know. So I enjoyed those last few seconds, even though he ended up in 13th anyway. But
all of this I agree with. But the only thing is, and like going past you, excellent, Lando, but you need to do this anyway. You need to do this just to win and to gain some points. You can't just be like, oh shit, I've got a penalty, now I've got to push. You see how Max is pushing the whole race and he's been leading. He's winning and he's still pushing because he wants the fastest lap, the extra points. And I did write down actually today, because Max got the Red Bull's 100th win for the team. And I was thinking, what motivates him? And I think it's little things like that, right? It's that, oh, okay, it's another win for him. It's getting the fastest lap. It's being able to add to his record, because eventually these sorts of things will probably end up feeling a bit stale, but he still pushes. And that is what makes him, and it's going to make him one of the greats, because you have to continue to push. You can't push now you got a penalty.
Yeah, I know. It's a weird one with McLaren and Lando, because I don't think he's gelled with the car this season for some reason. Like, it doesn't feel like they're happy over there at McLaren. It doesn't feel like that at all. It feels like they're in the middle of some sort of
Girl, Lando has not gelled with that car since he moved to McLaren. He moved. He signed deal after deal with them, leaving him in death row. My sympathy is capped at 40%. It is capped at 40%. He hasn't been at one with that car since he moved there. Like, isn't that alarm bells? That's alarm bells ringing. Should have moved to Red Bull when they offered you the chance to.
I know.
Yeah, well, that boy's locked in. He's locked in, man.
I know. He is.
I want to see him become a world champion. I want to see Leclerc become a world champion. But with the way things are going for them two, their destiny's tied.
Oh, listen, we can't even get into Leclerc because we'll be here all day. But listen, that boy, I know for a fact, he went home and he was just, I feel like he sat in silence. I feel like Leclerc went home and just sat in silence, like.
But you know what? He had a really great recovery with within the race as well, because I thought Ferrari messed it up again, because they remember under the safety car, everybody went to pit and changed their medium tires to hard tires, and Leclerc and Sainz were the only ones that were left out, but they managed to make up some places and they got to 4th and 5th. But I was thinking, with the tire wear, they're definitely going to need to go in and change before everybody else does, leaving them in a sticky situation. But they both managed their tires really well and managed to maintain position. But yeah, I think he'd go home feeling really proud of his recovery, but also not happy with how qualifying went down.
Yeah, but I think they should be challenging, and they're not challenging. The whole point of this year and this season was for you guys to be challenging as Ferrari, as a team. Like, you've even had a new manager, and we ain't seen that challenge mentality or anything. Your strategies are still fucked up. Like, it's like they're literally not listening to the drivers. How are the drivers on race day telling you, and on quali day telling you what they want, and that you're just like, nah, we're not doing that?
Yeah. And obviously, like, it makes sense if if the driver strategy doesn't work. You know, sometimes we cuss out George for a little driver strategy that clearly isn't going to work. But I do think when you can see what everybody else in their teams are doing, you know, you should be listening to them. And I know we haven't got to like Starboy and should have stayed at home yet, but yeah, I have to agree with Anita. You know, I do feel like, especially Leclerc, like, did really well in recovery, and I felt a bit sorry for Carlos Sainz because he was being used as a buffer. Do you know what I mean? Again, I think it was against Perez, and I kind of felt a bit bad for him in the end, because I was just like, oh man, like, I feel like they both deserve more. Do you know what I mean?
It is really sad. But now, you know, we've got Max won 2 years in a row, Canadian Grand Prix. He has won. And this was like a very significant place for Lewis, I think. And so it was actually nice to see him on the podium.
Another podium.
Another
one, yeah.
Baby.
So I was happy to see that. But yeah, let's move on to who should have stayed at home, because my list is kind of nice.
Okay, I have a list.
What? Shanice has a list?
We're ready. Come on.
Whenever I have a list, she's like, oh, I don't think you're being fair. But today, Shanice has a list. You know what, right?
It's the hair.
It must be the hair. And the hair is really nice, Shanice, by the way. I really love it.
Hairstyle comes a new personality and often a new look, a new wardrobe. So maybe I'm just the sassy one today. I don't know.
I love it. I love it.
You.
Shanice, who do you think
should name the names? I'll name the names, but I won't give you my definitive answer, if that makes sense. So my list goes Gasly, George, De Vries, Perez, Magnussen, Sargent. And I think they're all pretty valid for different reasons.
Shanice named half the drivers on the track.
This this week. So I mean, my star boy has a few as well. But you know, so I think they're all for reasons, though, right? Like if I gave you that list and I chose one of them, I reckon you guys would be like, yeah, okay, fair enough.
I didn't think she was gonna stop. I didn't think she was gonna stop naming.
I thought he was gonna keep going.
Me too.
Yeah, I was like, you might as well go ahead and name everyone apart from Max, Lewis, and Alonso at this point. Do
you not agree with like some of those names though?
I agree with like 3. I think I agree with Stroll. I agree with.
No, I didn't say Stroll.
You didn't say Stroll? No,
I didn't say Stroll. I said Sargent.
Yeah, but Sargent needs to stay at home every other week. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm tired.
But that is why I can't say for 100%. Like, it can't be Sargent because, again, like I think I've cussed this guy out 2 weeks ago. George, I was kind of like, well, it was a driver error, so maybe it could be him. Gasly, I don't remember seeing nothing from that guy this whole race. He was coming in like Zhu. Do you know what I mean? I was like, what the fuck is like? I didn't hear nothing from him. Perez more so just because. That's not a good place to be when Max is winning again. Oh, and Magnussen, I couldn't cuss him out again, but he had to go on the list. And De Vries, I was cussing him out again. I surprisingly, I might go for George.
Why George?
Because I think I never really cuss out George, and I never really have him as I should have stayed at home. But I do think this time I can allow myself to do it, just because I think it was more about, it was technically a driver error, and he knows that. So it's not a big cussing for him. It's more of like, watch yourself, man. Be careful. I'm trying to root for you.
Watch yourself, because I'm watching.
Yeah, I'm trying to root for you. I believe in you. But he, again, it's that thing, small mistakes and errors can have a massive impact on the team. Mercedes could have got some really big points this week and they didn't. And it was technically a driver error. And I cussed out De Vries when it was a driver error. So I feel like I can cuss out George.
To be fair, if George didn't crash out, Mercedes probably would have got a 3-4.
Yeah, they could have got some decent points.
Yeah, they could have got some really decent points. Like, I ain't mad at your choice. The other choices, however, goddamn. What could Perez have done? Like, keeping it real, there's not much more he could have done. He drove for his life.
Did he though? I feel like I didn't push harder than what he did this week. When you got Max up front again, I mean, you're behind a couple of Ferraris. With their team strategy, you can outdo them.
Anyone can outdo them. I didn't see Perez for damn near the whole race. I was
exactly.
Where was he? Where did he come? And she was like, I don't know. And I was like, where did he go? My home, pretty simple. Lando. That's it. Lando.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm so sorry to be so harsh to him.
I don't think Lando deserves that. Come on, Simone. But unsportsmanlike behavior.
No. I don't think Lando was unsportsmanlike. But the fact that you tried to battle it out with Esteban Ocon and you came off like that, I'm sorry, it made me laugh. It made me laugh so much. And then you got your 5-second penalty. So you finished 13th when you actually obviously wanted to finish within the points. Like, you just had a bit of a stinker there, didn't you? Bit of a stinker.
Okay.
Nita, who's yours?
Mine is so different to both of yours. It's Lance Stroll for me. Like, I don't know how we're not putting him in there. He's at home. Lance
he's at home, right?
Yeah, he is at home, and he came a whooping ninth. A whooping ninth. He had an awful quali, awful practices, and to be honest with you, when Alonso is second, right? And he's only 9 seconds off from Verstappen, and Stroll is 64 seconds off of Verstappen. You have to start asking questions.
That's mad, because your daddy owns the team. Why don't your daddy give you the better car? I'm
crying. That's the thing. You'd expect him to already have but if there is a better car, you'd expect him to have that better car, but he's not using that car properly. But this is a man that wants to stay in Formula One and doesn't want to be under his daddy anymore. Baby, you won't survive anywhere else. And this just showed it.
Because Alonso outperformed you every single week.
Every
I
single
think a
week.
lot of the time, though, people say that because Alonso's got more experience. But to be fair, when you put it like that, 64 seconds behind Max when Alonso, you are right, actually. I think, Stroll wasn't really on my list because he was kind of sleeping this way. So I was sleeping on him.
I forgot about him.
Yeah,
There we go.
because even earlier when you were like Stroll, I was like, nah, he ain't even on my list. But yeah, where was he?
Everyone had a bit of drama. He did not, because he was just languishing in whatever position he was. And it's like, in your home race, you're going to let your teammate dunk on you like that. And we can say experience. There have been times where George has dunked on Lewis.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
happened. But Stroll couldn't do it in his home race. And for me, he should just stay at home. There was no point of you being there apart from to collect the measly 2 points. What was the point?
You can definitely, I feel like they don't have the same car, or they don't have the same setup, because Alonso's outperforming every single week and he's getting points. And not that I think Stroll's getting points, but he's on podium like way more than you've not been on podium.
But to be fair, at the start of the season, Stroll wasn't doing too badly. I actually thought maybe this season we're going to see, some good stuff from both of them, not just Alonso. So it was kind of weird, actually. You've pointed it out and it's come to my attention, which means I'll be watching it more in the races now. But I do think, yeah, that is a good point. Like Aston Martin, there's something going on there.
I don't, do you know what? I just feel like...
Huh? Oh, sorry. I was just saying, because he started off okay, and I thought Aston Martin were going to be like the challengers this season. Yeah. But you just reminded me, he's gone to sleep now.
And the thing is, to be a racing driver, you got to have consistency, and he doesn't have it. It's just clear. Yeah. The only thing that Alonso has ahead of him is consistency, and obviously experience. But apart from that, you're in the same car, same machinery, your setup's the same most of the times. What's wrong with you that you cannot compete to the same level that another Aston Martin can? At least, right? You see Checo, obviously the Red Bull car is massively superior than everybody else's, but at least he managed to climb back up and he got 6th place, right? In your home ground, you'd want to do the same.
Different kind of driver.
That's it as well, Anita. I always cuss out the ones who don't bring it on their home race, and I completely forgot. Lance, you slipped me this week because I was in Budapest and I was distracted. But next time I'll be getting you, because you're right. It's his home race.
Okay. So who is our driver that should have stayed at home, though?
God.
Who are we agreeing on? I feel like I put a good case for Lance Stroll.
Now you have. And one more thing to add for Lance. Like, I don't think he has that dog in him. He doesn't have those balls. Alonso even said on the radio, when he was chatting to his engineer, and he was like, I'm trying to win the race. Like, let me know what I need to do because I'm trying to win this race.
Right.
These times Max is clear gone. But he's like, I think we can still win this.
He's still active.
He still has that in him. Like, I don't care what's happening around me. I can still do this. I don't ever hear Lance Stroll come on the radio and say, I'm trying to win or I'm trying to do anything. It's almost like he's coasting. He's just there. And
he's never had to struggle. He's never had to struggle in his life. That's why. He's like, well, I may not do well this season, but you can't get rid of me. And that's exactly how he sounds. You can't get rid of me.
My dad.
I think for me then, Anita, you have persuaded me. Yeah. You have an overall one. Yeah. I could, because I don't like cussing out George anyway. So, but it couldn't have been Lando for me either. So Lance Stroll, I'm always having a go at people on their home race. But I think, guys, let's stop cussing people out. Let's give some praise. Who was your star, boys? Simone.
My star boy.
Oh, actually, we've all got the same. I don't even know why I'm asking you. I don't know who you're gonna say, but I think I know who you're gonna say.
Who?
No, I don't want to say just in case I'm wrong. Were you going to go with Alex Albon?
My star boy is Alex Albon.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, see, I was right. I knew it.
My star boy is
Alex. I knew who you were going to say.
Alex bought it this weekend. The upgrades at Williams, although I don't think they've had their full upgrades, they shone for me. And I was from qualifying to race day, I was like, wow, look at the potential this Williams has got. And not that they're always going to be challenging or up there, but to see him up there in qualifying, like he's almost becoming, Mr. Saturday, which was what George Russell was when he used to get into Q3 when he was at Williams. So him finishing 7th on race day, this is one of their highest finishes, apart from when George finished in Q3 in Spa when it was raining a couple of seasons ago. This is Williams' one of their highest finishes, like to get 7th. And the fact that he held it, oh my gosh, like I'm so proud of Alex. Well done to him, because he shone this weekend.
And who was your star boy?
I mean, I don't think I can say anybody else other than Alex Albon.
Yeah, this is what I was saying, man. I don't know who you guys were going to say, but I knew who you were going to say.
Yeah, like it's a no-brainer for me. Alex Albon, he stole the show this entire weekend. He even got driver of the day as well. Like he put on a show, and I really, really, really hope in the nearby future he gets a proper car, because what he's doing with that butt-ass Williams is beyond me. And also, big up Logan Sargent for exiting the equation very early on in the race. We all knew he was going to DNF anyway. Just happy he did it.
Well done for going out. Bye.
Well done. In a safe manner too. It was easy for them to get the car out, just a little virtual safety car. Good to go again. Thank you, Logan Sargent.
Okay, I'm glad you kept it positive there, because I'm like, hang on a minute. When you were about to talk about, like, hang on a minute. But okay, we did it safely, and we're proud of that. Don't get me wrong. I did clock a couple of other people. I thought Leclerc did well to come back. I put Hamilton just because I was happy he was on podium again. I also mentioned Verstappen just because, you know what, 100th win for Red Bull. Praise.
Okay, I've got something to say about that one.
Okay, we'll go back to that. And then the last person I mentioned on my list was Ocon. Not for any particular reason, but I just thought, you know what, I feel like, especially at the end with that whole battle with Lando, I was like, yeah, you deserved to keep your position there. So don't let no little one come run upon you. You know what I mean? In the last lap, try and steal your thunder in the last lap. Don't let that happen. And he didn't. But Alex Albon, I feel so proud of him. I'm so glad. I feel like he's coming back. And I was like, yes.
No, he did well. And I was joking with my dad, and I said, look, they've got the Duracell battery pack on that car. So they're doing bits. Like, they're doing bits. And yes, as you rightly mentioned, get Red Bull 100 wins. I mean, well done to them. Obviously, the majority of the wins have come from Max and also Sebastian Vettel.
I was about to say, where was Vettel? Because why has Max? Does Max have more wins than Vettel?
I think
he does now. I think he did a couple of races ago. Yeah, I think he beat
it. Yeah, Max is clocking them up. But let's just keep real. Lewis Hamilton has 103 wins by himself. They have 100 wins as a team. Okay.
But Lewis has been in a winning car for a long time. I know Max has, but I think this is Max catching up now. So we might be having a different conversation in 2 or 3 seasons. Do you know what I mean? Where he's about to be reaching Lewis's, record. So let's not put him down too soon.
I'm sorry. Just really quickly. God forbid.
No, I mean, I'm looking at like
God forbid.
No, we're not going to be having that kind of conversation.
Girl,
I'm sorry.
Think about how many years though Lewis has on Max. Max could if the cars carry on, if he has no challenges, if Mercedes don't come back, if Ferrari don't come back, we could be having these conversations in 3 seasons' time.
103 wins, Shanice. He has 103.
If he keeps winning, like he'll just be getting closer and closer and closer and closer, and we'll just be having more and more and more of that conversation.
I'm due to cut my laptop right now.
It could happen, and you need to prepare yourself, because with the way things are going, it's going to happen very soon.
Anyone see Daniel Ricciardo? He was out this weekend. And you know what? He bought the maple syrup. I said we're going to see some maple syrup in Canada. He bought it.
Well, what race are we on next? I'm letting you go wrap up because I need to go. So if I have to jump off, then
the way she just was like, next.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm into the next thing. I'm trying to log in.
We're at Austria next, end of June, and everyone knows Austria home for the Red Bull team. So it's going to be It's going to be an interesting one. More time, obviously they're going to win. So, you know, I'm hoping that I'm going to see Perez bring it as well. I want to see, if you've got Max up there, I want to see Perez behind him as well. I want to see some more improvement from him. I do. I want to see something from him, because how did you go missing?
Girl, ever since Perez has said that he wants to win the championship, Red Bull said, nope. There's always something wrong in that points car now. Don't hold your breath.
No, not on our watch. Not on Max's watch, you know. Not on Max's watch. So that's what.
Before we go, yeah, can I just say, are we now dead in the feud with Max Verstappen and Fernando Alonso, seeing as Lewis seems to have deaded everything? Is it now time for us LH44 fans to let it go?
Sorry, like, I believe in violence, and it is war over love in this situation. There's some things that were said that can never be taken back. There's some things that were done that I'm never going to forget, because I saw it with my eyes. I saw you put a wheel on top of the man's head. So, boy, we're not coming back from that.
Lewis took a selfie with them and everything, but never mind.
I do think next season I'm going to be back on it. I mean, you guys know I'm supporting Max this season anyway, so kind of.
You're me from last season, and I love that for you.
Wow. Wait till you come to the realization.
You're going to hit it very quickly, like I did. Very, very quickly.
Guys, I'll see you at the next race.
Austria.
Austria. I hope it's going to pull out some celebs, but who knows who's going to be there.
Who's an Austrian celebrity?
Oh no, they just bring out random celebrities, don't they?
Yeah.
Anyway, goodbye. You are host now, Simone, but continue. Bye.
Bye, Shanice.
Shanice.
Yeah, celebrities. Arnold Schwarzenegger's the only Austrian I can think of. Obviously, in Toto Wolff's Austrian.
Oh yes, Toto Wolff race. That's the well, ain't it?
Yeah.
I don't think Mercedes have ever had luck at any of their home races. Not Germany, not Austria. Actually, let me not say that, because Silverstone's coming up soon. Yeah.
Come on, girl. Come on.
Let me not say that. I'm not going to put no bad vibes into the air. Apparently, they've got 2 packages coming in before Silverstone or something like that. And Silverstone is a big package, apparently.
I've heard that, especially, and for Williams as well. So I think we're going to see.
And Aston Martin.
I think we're going to see an exciting race. But Silverstone never disappoints. So
always a good race at Silverstone.
Exactly.
It never ever disappointed me.
It's always a good one. Anyway, guys, we're going to wave the checkered flag on this episode, and we look forward to seeing you for Austria. Bye.